This is a very important press event, and it relates to an event that took place earlier today at the White House. I was very disappointed to see what I consider a shameful display of bully diplomacy. There are some facts that I think we have to acknowledge. We have to acknowledge that Russia invaded Ukraine. It was there for all to see. If you did not see it, it's available to be seen now on C-SPAN and in other places on YouTube. President Putin is a dictator. He didn't just become a dictator. He has been a dictator. We have acknowledged that in this country for decades. President Zelensky can surrender all by himself. President Zelensky does not need President Biden or any other president, including Trump, to decide that his country will not be a part of NATO, that his country will not get any of its land returned, that his country will have no security provided from other nations, that his country should pay some sort of reparations. He can do all of these things without the help of any president of the United States, especially President Trump, who holds himself out as a great deal maker, a great negotiator. You're not negotiating when the first thing you do is throw in the towel, wave the flag of surrender, say to the person who has demanded that there be no NATO acceptance of Ukraine, demanded that land be accorded Russia, demanded without any question, he has demanded that Ukraine not have the security guarantees that it is seeking. So all of those things can be done by President Zelensky without the aid of President Trump. President Trump does not seem to understand that he's not doing Ukraine any favors by demanding reparations and demanding these other things that will not benefit his country. Another fact, the United States of America is not a mercenary nation. We have not been a nation who demands some sort of payment for the services that we can render. This country has come to the aid of many around the world and has done so because we thought it was in the interest of our country, but also in the interest of the countries that we were helping. It was the right thing to do. It was the righteous thing to do in many occasions. So the United States should not now metamorphose into a mercenary nation wherein we will demand some kind of deal that includes some payment for our services. We have been given the opportunity to be the world superpower that comes to the aid of others because in so doing, we have received the benefits of friendships from other countries. Countries respect us and come to our aid and our comfort when we need them to help us with these various wars and various skirmishes around the world. They come to our aid because they know that we'll be there for them. For us to now change our entire paradigm, change what we have historically done, and decide we are going to side with the aggressor. We're going to side with President Putin, and we're going to now just totally disregard what we have seen and we know to be the case in terms of who invaded Ukraine and what the demands are, is unthinkable. We cannot allow our country to become a mercenary country. And I would also add this, bowing to the bullies and unfortunately taking advantage of the weak will not get you a Nobel Peace Prize. I think that a lot of what this president is doing is in his quest to acquire a Nobel Peace Prize. And you're not going to get it by bowing to bullies like Putin and then deciding that you're going to break those who are weak and make them succumb to the bullies that you would now associate with. That won't get you a Nobel Peace Prize. Finally, the president seems to think that if you can stop the shooting, stop the killing, you will have peace, some sort of permanent peace, just by giving in, by surrendering, throwing in the towel. That won't get you peace. Dr. King explained to us that peace involves more than the elimination of tension. It requires justice. It's the presence of justice that brings about peace. There is no justice in requiring Ukraine to surrender. There is no justice in this, to just surrender, give up their land, give up all of their hopes, their dreams, and their aspirations, and become subordinate and subservient to Russia. That's not what they want. They want a sovereign country, which is what they had. And it is time for us to help our president understand that he cannot continue this crusade that he has embarked upon to disassociate himself, it seems, with our allies and to befriend persons who have traditionally been our adversaries. The United States of America stands for freedom. It is the symbol of freedom. Whenever there is a skirmish, a war, people want to know, where are the Americans? Because they know that we're the people who come to the rescue, to the aid and comfort of people who are under duress and distress. That is not what we are displaying at this time under this president. I'm not saying that we are going to be the world's savior, not at all. But I do believe that NATO plays an important role in maintaining the peace. And NATO is an important place for us to be. It appears that he is almost ready to step away from NATO. This association has been there to protect those in Europe who are part of it, but also to act as a deterrent. A deterrent. We have to do what we can to maintain our association with NATO. I regret very much having seen what I saw today, this shameful display of a desire to put the president's personal desires above the people of the United States, the people of Ukraine, of the people that are our allies in Europe. He's putting his personal politics above the politics of the American people and the benefits that the American people have derived from our association with our allies across the globe. It was a shameful display of the vice president somehow believing that by supporting the president in the way that he did, it looks as though he seems to think that this will give him some sort of favor. It will ingratiate him to the president. Somebody has to be there to stand up and say to the president what he needs to hear, not what he wants to hear. He wants this praise. He wants people around him to appease him. Somebody has to have the courage to say, no, Mr. President, this is not the way we get it done. And you can do that behind closed doors. I don't expect you to insult the president in the public or to say things that the president might conclude are insulting. Do these things behind closed doors and you can do them, but you can't allow the president to continue to be a bully with a pulpit. You can't do this. If you do this, it is not going to bode well for the United States of America. And I welcome any questions that you might have.
Was there anything said specifically that you heard between the meeting between Zelensky and President Trump to trigger the press conference?
Well, it was the entire event itself, to be quite candid with you. It was the tone that was set. It was the expectation that people who are going to come to the aid and comfort of our country at some point, perhaps, who are coming to the White House to work in a peaceful and amiable fashion with us, to expect them to kiss the ring, to expect people to genuflex, to bow, to somehow understand that you have to appease the president to work with the president. He's not a dictator. He's not the king of the United States of America. He is a person that has been elected to hold public trust and to do so with a degree of dignity and show respect. He disrespects others and uses incivility to take advantage of their civility. And if you stand up for yourself or speak up for yourself, he immediately wants to dismiss you as being disrespectful to him. To tell the president of Ukraine that he's a dictator, to say to the president of Ukraine that you're not going to get admission to NATO, to say to him, you're not going to get any of your land back, and to say to him, we want your rare minerals, your rare resources, we'll take those in payment for what we've done for you, and to exaggerate the amount that we have actually accorded. This is just unbelievable behavior emanating from the highest office in the land, and it's doing this. This behavior is being emulated by others who hold positions under the president. And we're going to see more of this now at the state levels, state officials. You're going to see it by local officials, mayors. You're going to see it by county officials. You're going to see this kind of behavior. We're not a country that bullies its way through the world. We negotiate. And yes, we are a nuclear power. But the question isn't not whether we're going to police the world. The question is, can we bring peace to the world? And you're not going to bring peace by being the world's biggest bully. Yes, we have the biggest guns, but we have them not to threaten people, but to say to people, we want to negotiate with you, knowing that we can do other things if we have to, not because we simply decide that, well, you're the weaker power, so I can threaten you, but the bullies of the world will cave in to them and give them what they want, such that we can continue to appear to be the strongest bully on the planet. We're not a bully nation. We're not a mercenary nation. We are a nation that stands for liberty and justice for all within the country and without the country. I welcome any additional questions. If there are no additional questions, let me end with this. I have said, and I will continue to say, that this president's behavior is something that has to be checked. The Supreme Court, in acknowledging that the president has a certain amount of immunity, has caused this president to believe that he has total immunity. And when you couple what the Supreme Court has done with the fact that the president is now at a point where he's ready, it seems, to defy judicial orders. The third branch of the government, the judiciary, is there to settle disputes. And if the president won't honor the disputes being resolved by way of the judiciary, won't honor the orders of the court, if he doesn't honor court orders, and he believes he's immune from prosecution, and he knows that he has but one thing that can really put him in check, then he is going to continue to do whatever he pleases, but he will become a dictator when he no longer honors court orders. The day he decides he will no longer honor any orders from the courts is the day he becomes a dictator. And it will become the day that our country loses its Republican form of government, its democracy. We will lose it. And we're that close to this happening right now. And the only weapon we have against the president who has become this rambunctious is impeachment. That's it. If he defies the courts, he has but one weapon that can stand against him, and that's impeachment. I refuse to, on my watch, allow this to happen without using that ultimate weapon that the House of Representatives has. It emanates from the House. The Senate cannot start the impeachment process. It starts in the House, and then it goes to the Senate for a trial. I will not, on my watch, allow this president to go unchecked, to become a dictator without at least bringing articles of impeachment against him. It's not because we want to. We don't have any other choice, given the behavior that he's exhibiting, not just in this case with Ukraine, but in other cases as well. We are allowing the plutocrats to take over the country. He's brought in a plutocrat and given him carte blanche to fire people and to do so with immunity and impunity. He has decided that he will work a shadow government around the actual government and the people that have been elected to serve. We can't allow this to continue. This president is outside the guardrails. And when you go outside the guardrails, the one thing that is left for us is impeachment. If we don't bring articles of impeachment against him, he will think that he can continue. I don't know that the first articles will bring about the impeachment. I don't know that the second will or the third will. But I do know that the fourth did in the last time when he was in office. We laid the foundation for it then, and we'll lay the foundation for it again. This president has to understand that, yes, he is a Goliath. He does have some immunity. He's a Goliath. Yes, he commands the most powerful force on earth, the American military. We have weaponry unlike what many others have. Yes, he is a Goliath. But remember this, Mr. President, for every Goliath, there's a David. For every Goliath, there's a David.
Has that process started yet?
It has started with me and others that I'm collaborating with. And we have some articles that we are currently looking at, not to be divulged today, but there are some that we're looking at. And we're not going to allow people to say, well, it's too early. It's the president's behavior that dictates the timeline. The president's behavior dictates the timeline. It's not a timeline that I have chosen to set or that others who are working with me have chosen to set. It's the president's behavior, the way he has decided that he would just take Palestine. He's going to take it. No home for the Palestinians, no state for the Palestinians, no sovereignty for the Palestinians. We'll just take it and make it some sort of resort. That is an insult to even say this. You're the president of the United States. You would not dare say that you're going to just take Israel and turn it into a resort. We have become a part of what could likely be an ethnic cleansing. This kind of thing of planning to just take Gaza from the Palestinians. You can't do these things with the kind of impunity that you believe you have, Mr. President. We are going to do what we're supposed to do. We have this power because the Constitution says we have it, and because it has been proven to be efficacious in the past. It acts as a deterrent, and it can act as a means of removal. Many judges have been removed with impeachment. It may be time for a president to be removed from office by way of impeachment. I thank you for being here today. I thank those who have had the opportunity to view this from afar by way of our live streaming. And I promise you that while I'm in Congress, I'm going to be that watchdog. I'm not going to be the lapdog who's going to try to curry favor with the president. Thank you.